Firecracker work, lady. Right, sit down.
It went off.
Sit down. We were just hearing from Ollie. We'll hear from you in a second. Great round, Ollie.
Yeah, he's special, isn't he? And to have a horse of that calibre at this event is unbelievably just gets more and more professional and nicer to ride round every single time. And I think that was my best Burghley round yet on him, because it just felt very smooth. Everything came up very nicely, and I just wanted to give him as smooth a trip round as possible and as level a ride as possible. And for me, he definitely jumped the best right to the end that he's ever jumped. You know, he stayed level and he threw nice shapes and he was very on the ball all the way.
Do you know, it's the first time this week I've seen you smile and really look excited, because you've had a horrible week, haven't you? And you've sat here really looking pretty miserable, and we've been very worried about you, to be honest, because your back's been killing you. It's been really tough, and you're as hard as they get, you're as tough as they get, but this has not been that much fun, has it?
No.
Look, he's smiling! Woo-hoo!
I can smile. She's making me out to be a miserable.
No, I just said this week's not been that nice. But how is the back now?
Good as new. Don't know what was wrong with me earlier in the week. No, just I know I've said it already, but the British team lot are unbelievable, and I've had some fantastic physio in my career, but Ash Wallace has literally... Well, it wasn't happening Wednesday. I was not able to ride or walk, really. Yeah, but I mean, it's been like every time I've knocked on the physio door, Pippa comes out. I hobble in. Here we both are.
I know, Gemma said then she kicked you out and she was hobbling in. I mean,
yeah, she must be good.
Pip, let's... Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Mark Phillips. Sorry, Captain Mark, we would love to hear from you, but we want to hear from Pippa Funnell. Pips, what a competition so far. You know, you've done fantastic dressage tests, which put you in the lead, and what a round today. I know you'll probably find something wrong with it, but we all thought it was pretty special. And if you could have been here with all these guys watching this screen, they were literally screaming you round. How was it from your point of view?
Well, all I'm worried about is I want my crash helmet sealed back. and we just said in the press conference, I said I'm nearly prepared to put out £1,000 reward because I've had it for about 25 years. And Oliver then said, if you could give me 2,000, I'll go and find it.
In fact, he's hiding it under his bill of waiting till you get it up to £5,000.
He's probably got to get half the grand, has got to go to the physio to get him able to run round to find it.
Joking apart, I mean, I'm obviously absolutely delighted. I can't quite believe that I'm still in this position. He was fantastic. I can't say it was probably my prettiest round, but I think the nature of the course, maybe it wasn't about, you couldn't think whether you were looking stylish, you just had to get the job done and stay brave, attacking, and obviously, oh, is that?
I know, I don't know who that is. Keep going.
And he was, you know, it's the first time at this level for this horse, and you never know quite how they're going to respond, but you always go out thinking you're going to get to the end, and I knew that I had to ride competitively on him because that only helps the horses to get out there and attack. And yeah, there were a few places that I had to sort of, you know, be on the ball and stay focused, and a few little places at the leaf pit he was a little bit green off there, but all the time trying to, just get the job done.
Both you guys are very used to having two horses at an event like this. How much difference did it make in terms of your nerves with having to wait until the late afternoon to have your shot?
It is a very long wait, but let's try someone else. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Well, I thankfully had a very normal night last night. It was a real girly night because Alice joined me in my lorry after the chat show for a cup of tea with good mate Tina Bean, and Sam came back, so it was all girly evening, and I allowed myself one gin and tonic with them.
Bottle.
And then Tina stayed in the lorry, and I thought, she is snoring, but I won't wake her up. And then this morning, I obviously do a little bit of social media, and it was just lovely to actually, if I'm honest, the week I've had and the last 2 weeks, it's been so manic, and because we made the decision with Billy Walk-on not to run him, I actually thought, I've got a lion. And so I actually didn't get up too early. I didn't sleep that well, but it was just, Tina and I were both in our pyjamas this morning having a cup of tea, and I just said, God, wouldn't it be lovely if we were just somewhere else? And I didn't have to do what was coming in front of me, but it was great having such a good mate that understood what I was feeling, and it's I can't describe Friday night and Saturday morning. It's not nice. It's not a nice feeling.
Ollie. Ollie, do you start this match on Friday night?
Not really.
He had Izzy with him.
It was a very pleasant evening, actually. Had a meal cooked for me. Yeah, we rent a house down the road, and myself and Karen, who manages everything, and Izzy and our vet, and a very good friend Nick stayed, and yeah, it was just like a normal night with mates. Very relaxed and early to bed.
Captain Mark, let's just hear. Oh, it's all right, everyone. Steady. He's hurt his back. Mark, I think this is a children's show. Can we move on, please? Captain Mark, this is an extraordinary course that you built today. Ollie's an incredible cross-country rider. Pippi is one of the best in the world, as we know. In terms of what you designed and what played out, was it what you expected?
I'm sort of sad to say it was, in that, we saw all the fences actually ridden really well and look really easy. The trouble was, it was quite difficult to string the whole thing together. I think, if we're being honest, we had a slightly weaker field this time. I'm not talking about because the cream always rises to the top, and it sure did this week. But, we were missing William and Andrew Nicholson and Mark Todd and Harry Mead and Nicola Wilson, and you go on and on and on. All the people you would normally expect, Tina Cook, all the people you would normally expect to ride well around here, but were missing, and it showed on the result sheet. Only to get half round, that's absolutely not what I'm looking for, and not what I tried to do. And that really disappointed me. But I think it sort of was reflected in the quality of the field we had this year.
Mm-hmm. Ollie, what was your take on the course? Because we chatted before, and you love a challenge. There's no one who likes a challenge more, and that's why you come back to Burghley, and you said it's Burghley, that's what we expect. What was your take on how it played out?
I think it's was a fabulous course, not just because he sat next to me, but, I think that with Burghley, there are no tricks. We come here knowing it's going to be huge. It's a very fair test because the horses can see the fences. You go to Germany and places like that and do a similar level, and you're jumping things off blind bends, and I think that sometimes it's built a little bit like to catch a horse and rider out rather than to test a horse and rider. And for me, The fences are huge, the lines are very true, the distances are very correct, but at the same time, I'd be very disappointed for Mark to get any sort of criticism because only half got round, because if you can't ride to a big single fence, then you shouldn't come to Burghley. And it's a shame that half the field did drop out, but at the same time, it's Burghley and it definitely doesn't want dumbing down. This is our sport and this is how you test the very best in the world. And for me, the course was perfect.
Very well said, I think. Pip, what about from...
I didn't pay him.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, because obviously I was coming in here with two horses that it was their first time at this level, and often you would use maybe the softer track to do your first 5-star at Le Moulin or Pau, and maybe leave Badminton and Burghley till after. But I actually, the reason why I was prepared to bring those two young horses here, because I know the fitness program I have at home, I really believe that I get horses fit enough with the amazing hill work and they're out of the arena. But one of the main reasons I was prepared to come here, and again, it's not because Mark sat next to me, but Mark was a horseman, and as Ollie said, he builds true distances. Yes, the fences are big, but they are big at this level. There's no getting away from that, and we know we've got to have horses with scope. And I walked the course the first time, and I thought it was a massive course, but as Oliver said, it was a massive course, but the lines were in front of you, the distances were fair, and you just had to ride with your head. You had to recognise the cumulative effect of the big fences, and you had to take into account if your horse had a bit of a bad jump at a big wide fence, you needed to be quick to react and give it a kick to say, come on, we've got another big one coming. And so you had to really read and react to the feeling you were getting underneath you and not get lost in the moment that you're here at Burghley.
I just wanted to ask, but I'm causing a problem with the microphone. Mark, can you just talk to me about the effect of not having your really super experienced riders, so many of them, so that the riders that were coming later in the field didn't have those riders to watch to go early? Was there an element of watching a few things go wrong that caused others to unravel, do you think, or are they all individual hiccups that happened?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question. I mean, obviously, as the day went on and there was people walking home, it wasn't instilling confidence, you'd suspect, in the collecting ring. I'm not sure what effect that had, but you know, in sport, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and a lot of times we didn't see that today. But the good news, the good news was everybody walked home, and every horse walked home under their own steam.
And I think the other thing is that, Mark, the developments that you've made as a course designer and your team have made with the frangible pins and the developments you've made, you produced a cross-country test today, but we saw that when things unravelled and went wrong, the new innovations that have come in over the last 5 to 10 years meant that those falls don't become catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean, we probably broke the world record today for the number of pins and clips to be broken in a day. But the fact that nobody got hurt no horses got hurt. That's the first piece of good news. We applied a little bit of new technology at the gates to try to make them more forgiving. It obviously didn't work because they weren't very forgiving, and they won't be there next year. But
would that be the fence from your point of view, from course, where you just thought, yes, other ones were, but was that the one you were maybe most disappointed in?
It's the one I didn't really enjoy watching, because you knew if a horse or rider made a little bit of a mistake, it wasn't going to be very forgiving. The other one that rode more difficult than I was expecting, as you came up to 9 minutes, was the Clarence Court at the Dairyman. And I thought if you just jumped up over that first hen coop and just moved the three, the two would be right there, but it rode a bit more difficult than that. The boys and girls had to work harder than it just being a grid.
Definitely. I don't think you thought that was a grid, did you, Ollie?
Didn't feel like the sort of grid I build at home.
And Ollie, looking at tomorrow, I mean, you've got the three of you less than a mark between each other. For the fans, obviously, that's hugely exciting. Does that pretty much mean you're all starting on the same sheet? I mean, do you, from your point of view, going in there in third, putting the pressure on the girls, hopefully?
He's the lucky one. He goes first.
Do you feel that?
I like the idea. Like, obviously, I'm competitive, and I've given him a smoother trip round and ended up 5 seconds slow. But at the same time, I wouldn't swap my round, and I wouldn't swap the way he felt today. And tomorrow's another day, but I'll just try and ride my own horse and jump my own round and see where we end up.
Mm-hmm. Pip,
he's trying to say he thinks he gave himself a better chance than the other two.
Pip, this is when all this jumping you've been doing at Bowlsworth, everything. Yes, Pip. And the wonderful rounds of beating your husband in all these show jumping classes is going to come into play, isn't it?
Well, sadly, the horse isn't a Billy. No, he's he. As I said yesterday, and I've said all through the week, he's got talent, but he does like to have the last laugh. So I'm not going to try and give him the last laugh. And he should have won a few. He should have won a few big ones, and he should have won at Tattersalls, and he had the laugh on the cross country, and he's done 2 Blenheims now, and he's put himself in a position to win it. And whether it's me or him, we actually have failed on the last day. So it doesn't bode well. But I'm going to just. If it's my husband, can you just tell him where to go?
Just on the microphone.
It was actually Yogi. I'm lost now. So yes, if I'm honest, I definitely would like a bit more real. Well, 0.1, but Piggy's behind me, and obviously Oliver's is a very good jumper, and they've got their own battle between them after badminton, and of course I would love to stay in the position, but I've been in this sport a long time, and I know many victories have been won and lost in
Stop it! I can't do it. You cannot talk yourself out of this victory right now.
No, wait, because before she went cross country, Pippa's giving me a hard time. But what if I miss at those gates? They're so big. And what if I miss at the Oxford? They're so big. I said, come on, you won the Queen's Cup at Hickstead.
But I just also want to say that you're thinking, why am I still wearing my number? When I saw the draw, I was really quietly very excited because Mare's Hope was drawn 7th, and this horse, Squirrel, was drawn 77, and 7, touchwood, is normally my lucky number. And even in my Tilly's Ponytails children's books, if any of the kids have read my children's books, Tilly rides in the number 77. And so
Look at Oliver. Lovely, isn't he? Look at him. Oh, he's all over it. Do you know what he's loved most this week? Is being in the press conferences of Pippi, because he analyses these competitions in exactly the same way, don't you? Don't you? She's going to wear it in bed tonight.
It's amazing. On Wednesday, I felt like I was 81.
It takes all sorts. So that when you look at the trot up, there isn't a horse that wins Burghley, there's a type. There isn't a type, is there, in terms of a jockey?
I think Piggy and I are quite similar. I just don't look quite as stylish as her, but we often get confused. I've been called Piggy French a few times.
Yeah, we don't want to see Oliver in a skirt.
I went out with Piggy for 7 years and I never confused him.
Oliver, we've just had a lot of chat about your love life this week. That wasn't really what I was hoping for. He's perked up no end. If you were here on Friday night, I tell you, we didn't get any of this. Ollie, how much have you enjoyed Pippi's analytical process through the press conferences over the last couple of days?
Last couple of days, I've had 2 weeks of this.
And Pip, I know you would love the great Willie Funnell to be here tomorrow. I'm assuming he's jumping enormous jumps somewhere else, is he?
yes, he is abroad jumping, but Lizzie Bunn, one of my greatest friends, is here from Hickstead, and I heard her on the phone to him today, and she said, I won't speak to you again. If you're my friend, you're one of my greatest friends, William, and if you don't make it back to Burghley to help your wife, I'm not going to talk to you. So, who knows? But hopefully he might be back, but then sometimes when he is helping, we end up rowing. All I can say, win or lose, there's one thing for certain, there's still going to be no food in my fridge at home.
Well, guys, it's been such a privilege. Captain Mark, I think you did an extraordinary job. You're an amazingly brave man, and actually as brave as these two guys who rode the course, because we're so lucky to have someone who puts his neck on the line and builds the sort of course that provided the kind of sport we saw today. It's a huge challenge. We know it's a big risk, but it's a calculated risk that we all really enjoy having the opportunity to take. I say that sitting here in an armchair, but seriously, we're really grateful, because in this vanilla age, it's wonderful to have someone that's brave enough to put on the sort of sport we've seen today. So thank you so much to you, Captain Mark, and to Ollie and to Piggy for proving such a great... Pippa! I did it again! To Ollie and to Pip for such a wonderful display today. We've really enjoyed it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you'll be back tomorrow. If you're not, watch the BBC coverage at 2:30 tomorrow with Claire.